Story, guys, is another Irish Media Watch, and this is the aftermath of the Irish presidential election. I have to apologise first because I didn't do my job yesterday. I actually should have been listening to the podcasts and radio programmes, but I was just too knackered after everything. So this should have been up a bit earlier, but I've just got through streaming the Brendan O'Connor show this week, a bit of Anthony Savage and Morning Ireland today. So that was a good few hours listening. I had to get in before I could make comments on it. First off, though, I want to give a heads up to Ireland Reacts, which is a YouTube channel. I think it's connected to the same company that does Eddie Hobbs' show, Counterpoint. And the thumbnail you see up there for this video, that's actually a screenshot I took of the chart showing the actual breakdown of the electorate and how it's split down in terms of voting for everyone. One of the things Irish Media Watch is meant to do is cut through the spin that the mainstream media likes to put out, and they've been saying that Catherine Connolly's victory is a 65% landslide, but as you can see from this thumbnail, she actually only represents 25 point odd of the electorate in total. Indeed, if I was to go back to the video I did yesterday about how I had to take back that it wasn't the worst turnout ever for a presidential campaign, if you factor in this deliberately spoiled votes and count down abstentions, then the turnout actually drops down to about 39.9%. So for all intents and purposes, not actually lower than the last time at Michael D, but much, much lower. And this is indeed now the story of the election. They've actually started to realise that the spoiled votes isn't just, high, as they're saying in RT. But if you go to watch that Ireland Reports video, there's one with Declan Ganley and Malachy Stevenson on it. Declan actually reveals that the spoiled vote in Ireland is actually the biggest single spoiled vote in Europe. And in fact, globally, either the second or third on the entire planet. So when the mainstream media start talking about Catherine Connolly's historic election campaign, this is actually really the sense in which that matters. We actually smashed the record on spoiled votes for the one that was held in the 2017, I think the second round of the presidential election in France. They're the last guys to hold the record for the most number of spoiled votes. And God bless us, we kicked our little asses. This is still yet to be acknowledged anywhere amongst the mainstream media. They are still insisting that it's such a high spoiled vote, and that's it. Not historically significant. Indeed, going back to the Brendan O'Connor show this morning, on Sunday, broaching the notion that the spoiled vote was so high, that's pretty much the closest they came to even acknowledging it. In the main, RTE was mainly a den of obsequiousness for Catherine Connolly. I mean, it's really kind of sickening at this stage, the level of fawning excess that they're throwing on this whole affair now at this stage. And the triumphalism that they're engaging in, the narrative they're trying to put as well in terms of the actual success of the campaign. I suppose if you're ensconced in that bubble, it is probably somewhat baffling to you. But like I said, look at that thumbnail that I have up there. That's the reality of this campaign. 3 or 4 people just stayed home or actively voted against this woman. The notion that somehow it's an indication of a massive swing to the left for the entire country, it's not borne out by the stats. Maybe this is what they mean when they say that Matt's is racist. They might be looking to add misogynistic to that too now. This week's coverage of the fallout was in relation to basically an interview that they did with Maria Steen, where they were pretty much trying to put her down as the sole benefactor of the spoiled votes. And the woman herself, to her credit, said, no, if people were putting my name down there, fair enough, but it wasn't just me. I think that's because RT and the rest of them basically spent the last week doing their best to try and turn everything that happened out in City West into a comment on riots and not actually why the riots happened. And it's far easier to try and say that the spoiled votes are all in favour of Maria Steen instead of having to acknowledge that an awful lot of them had legends on it along the lines of she was only 10. That's a conversation that RT doesn't really want to have, considering the fact that the government has an awful lot of culpability in it. In the main, though, in both Brendan O'Connor and this week, it was really about bigging up Catherine Connolly and doing very little analysis of what actually happened. But like I said, a grudging and growing acknowledgement that the spoiled vote is actually going to have ramifications. This actually brings me on to a little small item that Grip did. They sent that lad down to Dublin Castle to do an interview with the Lefty Alliance. I think it was Ben Scanlon, but I'm not 100%. But he was asking them what the opinions they had on the massive amount of spoiled votes that actually did occur over the day. And what lessons need to be learned from it. I love when Grip turn up because you can just see the looks on the politician's face. It's almost exactly as if somebody just pissed in their tea in front of them. But in fairness, they did answer him. I think Holly Cairns of the Social Democrats actually came out with the best because she just got really cagey and really hummed harder and the whole thing. And did the basic equivalent of saying that we need to learn lessons from this. Mary Lou MacDonald from Sinn Féin did accept that it did actually stand for something, but she went into a big long spiel about how this was a seismic day for the left and a true moving point for Ireland. an overwhelming victory for Catherine and went wholly over the top in relation to it. But my absolute favourite part of the whole affair, though, was when he was talking to Ivana Bacik, the Labour Party. I swear to God, Ivana Bacik is the walking embodiment of the phrase, those who can't teach. Her comment basically was that an organised grassroots organised movement to spoil the vote was fundamentally anti-democratic. Yes, you heard it. A campaign to actually get people to partake in the democratic process is anti-democratic. She then went on to say how dangerous this was to, you guessed it, our democracy. What I love about this is that literally 12 hours earlier, Simon Harris and Micheal Martin both got together and said that the sheer level of the spoiled votes was so concerning that they would have to address the issue on how easy it is for people to get on the ballot. Remember, this is from two lads who moved heaven and earth to stop people getting on the ballot. So to have the win put them up so comprehensively that they actually said this the night of the election results is significant. So not only is it not anti-democratic, it's actually achieved the purpose of increasing democracy that people want in that next time round. Hopefully, it may involve a referendum or so to get there. But even if it's just an easing on the cosh on the councils, we should definitely have more people being able to stand for the presidency. So straight away off the bat, job done. More, rolling forward on today, momentum is actually behind the Spoiled Votes campaign. I was listening to Anton Savage on the News Talk Radio this morning, and there is now a huge push against Micheal Martin. So not only has the Spoil the Vote campaign seemed to have achieved its aim in the future, garnering an easier access for people to become presidency, but it now seems to be looking like it's going to actually take out the Taoiseach of the country. Because Fianna Fáilis are now saying that this is such a humiliating affront to the government, that his position is untenable. And according to the guest that Anton Savage was talking to, there's at least 10 out of the 12 required Fianna Fáilis willing to sign up for a motion of no confidence in Micheal Martin. And indeed, flipping over to other commentators like Ivan Yates, it's looking like there is a possibility by Christmas we might have a new leader of Fianna Fáil and a new leader of the country. All on the back of a grassroots movement not supported by any political party out there at the moment. If Ivana Bacik doesn't think that's democratic, I don't know what is. Like I said in one of my earlier vids, the next couple of days and weeks are going to be hilarious. We're going to see arse covering like you've never seen before. There's going to be a by-election out in Galway to replace Catherine Connolly's seat, and just watch the left tear themselves to pieces over that. It's going to be enjoyable to watch the narrative that the media trying to sell in relation to how the left can now all work together and unite, just fall apart into tissues. International, the global media is reporting that we've elected a radical, basically, and have the highest number of protest votes in the history of the state. They're not parroting the mainstream media's narrative here at all. And indeed, even here you'd have to ask the question, how much longer can they actually sell that narrative at all? Like I said, look at that thumbnail chart. They're saying on the news that she got 64% of the vote, the highest turnout for a presidential candidate in terms of support, over 900,000 votes. More than Michael D, as they like to say. But I can't deny the reality of that chart. 3 out of 4 people either actively agitated against her or want nothing to do with her. The fear you'll be seeing in the future is that there is room there for somebody to galvanise those votes. And if they can do so, they're going to sweep into power. Because right now, the entirety of the political system in this country is that little wedge over to the left-hand side of that pie. The ramifications of this election are only starting to roll out now. And like I said, Fianna Fáil are feeling it. We're probably going to see a replacement of their leader in the next week or two. Because to be brutally honest, after the complete shambles they made of this and the complete humiliation that the government has endured from it, if they don't get rid of them now, they're never going to. In my opinion, the aftermath of this election, it's only just getting started. Take care, guys. Thanks for listening this long. If you like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.